Hi, hello. Yes, nice to see everyone. Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for joining. We have members in the room. We have folks joining us on YouTube Live. Members, thank you so much for joining us and being here to learn from our two panelists. We're so excited. I just want to once again thank everyone and welcome everyone into this space. We are Women in Film. We were founded in 1973. So, for the last 53 years, we've been focusing on the roadblocks that women face in the entertainment space, to be getting green light, to be power, to be making the work that we know needs to be made in to change culture in the larger world and at large. But this event series specifically, WIF is excited to host these free arts programs for our greater community and the general public. And at each event, WIF will exhibit and uncover our artists' process and their expertise in their field. Tonight we have cinematography. It's very exciting. And we offer this to our members to come into the room. And we also have free public events, but we also offer a completely free student membership program for any discipline in the greater Los Angeles area. The memberships provide access to guild and industry screenings. I'm sure you've seen those invitations come through, and also educational workshops such as this. But also from now until May 31st, all WIF memberships are at this special seasonal rate. So you can join a higher level of membership. And if you have a question about that, you can always reach out to me. I'm Tony Marie. I'm the membership manager at WIF. You can reach me at tmgallardo at wif.org if you have any questions, or you can find me on our website. And I want to send a special thank you to the City of LA Department of Cultural Affairs, the Bridges Larson Foundation, the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture for sponsoring these programs that we would not be able to put on without their support. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague Chloe to introduce our wonderful the event and what we're going to be going through tonight. And thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us on a Tuesday evening. Yeah, we're very excited to have this Artist and Fellowship series this year. Along with tonight's event, we also have another Artist and Fellowship event happening next week on May 14th, featuring Tammy Ari, one of our 2025 Composer Fellows, which will be at Ethos Society in Koreatown, which I'll drop the RSVP links on the chat. And you could also sign up for our newsletter and stay up to date um, on everything that's happening WIF event-wise on our website. So let me just drop that here on the chat. Just some quick housekeeping. But for this event, we're very excited to be focusing on cinematography and featuring the work of one of our lovely Cinematographer Fellows, 2025 Cinematographer Fellow, Andressa Cordeiro. And then we're also joined by Emi Mendieta, who will be moderating discussion with us. Emilia was one of our 23 Cinematographer Fellows, so she's an alum of our program. And yeah, so we'll be screening a brief excerpt of the feature film Andressa worked on called Green Days by the River, which was set in 1954 Trinidad in a coming of age story of a 15-year-old boy from the coastal village of Mayaro. And then after the screening, we will have a moderated conversation with Adressa and Emilia, and then we'll open it up for Q&A from the audience afterwards. So I'll kind of shoot it over to Andressa to kind of speak a little bit about the film and introduce it.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, With, and thank you everybody who came to the talk on a Tuesday night. I sent some invitations for people in Brazil, and it's 10 p.m. there now. So I really thank you guys for showing up. Um, Green Days by the River is my first feature film, narrative and documentary. So it's my very first long format project. It's a movie that was based on a book that's widely known in Trinidad and Tobago. And it's a story that is very important to the culture and identity of the place. It's recommended in schools. So it's a very well-known story, and I was very honored to be able to shoot it.
Great. So I'll put up the film right now. Thank you, Andressa. All right, enjoy, y'all.
Relive.
No. Tell you about this monkey business.
But Johnny is my girl. Mom, what the hell?
I said no. What you think I am, boy? I still going to school, man. You's an old terror, boy. Stop puffering like a silly old bull. And don't forget, you said I was the nicest Jane in Trinidad.
It's only human and I love you.
That's not love. It's real trouble.
Trust you to talk like that. I can't help it.
Oh, Christ. So it's true. That's why you wanted me to come to Mayaro. And he writes such nice, innocent letters. You'll never think he's a maniac.
Hey, I'm not a maniac. And what you want is all I know.
By the hook or the crook, eh?
John.
Christ. Hey, look, I just hit that brute and it wouldn't fall. Hey, watch our shot now. Come and see. Look, it's still shaking.
That's because it's still green.
Hey, that is a ripe mango. What you know about mango? And you know, come up here. I totally down the beach people who know about picking coconut.
It's the kind of green to me, as well.
Leonard, yeah, this man. He watching a rosy mango and calling it green.
No, that's a nice ripe. Sweet darling, but no easy picking. Joe, like your girlfriend.
Hey, boy, that bastard hard to get.
Just like Rosalie.
Like your... Ooh, you taking that just so then?
Say it. Say it. I'll make you swallow it.
Come now, come now.
But you already cool yourself now. Why you so bellicose?
Joe, if you're so vexed, why you don't climb the tree and pick it, eh? Like you're afraid to dirty your pants, or? I really want no mango, you know. I just feel to pelt, that is all.
Don't study, Joe. He afraid. Just like he afraid to talk to Rosalie.
Leave me alone.
Some fellas are all in luck, boy. So how things going with you and the little Jane, boy? Good?
Who's that? The dog like you?
Yeah, like you know her.
Not really. So my girlfriend, Andrew?
My girlfriend? Hey, don't study Leonardo. He's a real joker.
Oh, God, Joe. You know the girl have a little soft spot for you.
Hey, Shell, don't study them fellas. It's only old talk and skylark them so like.
She nice, man.
Joe, like, you gotta watch out for this man, boy.
Why do you hush your trap?
We'll see all the fellas.
You gonna again? Like you have a little Jane to check too? Or?
Maybe. See you later.
All right then, Shelly.
Yeah, shall boy.
Hey, later, boy.
Dear June, I miss you so much. And so much is happening here that I wish I could talk to you about. So I'll try my best to put it on here. First things first, I have the best news to tell you. I bet you wouldn't guess it in a million years. So I'll just go ahead and tell you that Pa came home a few days ago. It's the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Besides meeting you, of course. And I also have something very important to ask you.
Shell, my boy! Shell!
So, Shell, you have no brothers or sisters, boy?
No, just me alone.
Having one boy child come just like having two girls, we?
How do you mean?
There's nothing. It's a pity so much of fruits that have all over and not enough children to eat them. That's why the birds and them just gobble them down. Look at them blasted corn bird on that sapodilla tree there. Don't worry about that, man. Don't worry about them kind of thing. Them birds and them had to live too. You know, it's best we suck a few orange first and console ourselves before we do anything, right? First things first. Shall we have fire again, boy? The land is just over there. You see the orange field long there? Yeah. The land is from there, go back. I love this land too bad, boy. I believe in land. I believe in land. I'm planting the land.
Again, problem. Anyways, I see your picnic coming.
Ah.
Go on.
Ma!
Ah, chicas! Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm good.
Facila, what you doing down here? Huh? Your father, he all right?
Yeah, Pa good. Ma, I want to go in the bush with Mr. Gadari tomorrow.
Gidari? Oh, you mean the man with the Creole wife?
Yeah.
Where you want to go?
Only land.
For what? He paying you?
I'm not sure. Just to help him out.
So who gonna see about your father?
Pa good, Mommy. He could reach free water and he eat food. I just...
You just what?
I just bored. I just want to do something different for a change, man.
Okay. Ukali. Me demand tomorrow only.
Thanks, man.
And don't make it a habit, especially if he's not paying you. Anyway, and remember to leave some food out the safe for your father, eh? Put on him
I
well.
won't forget anything, thanks.
And don't go in that bush and get no snake bite, eh?
All right, that's a great excerpt. Okay, let me introduce our lovely speakers. First, our moderator. Um, Hailing from Kansas by way of Quito, Ecuador, Emilia Mendieta Cordova is an Ecuadorian-American filmmaker and director of photography known for her bold and emotionally resonant storytelling. A graduate of Vassar College and AFI Conservatory, she brings a sharp visual sensibility, technical mastery, and collaborative spirit to every project. Her work has screened at Palm Springs Short Fest, Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival, Urban World, LA Shorts, Bogo Shorts, and the Cinegear film series, among others. Emilia has lensed a wide range of narratives from Trending and High Beam through the LFI in Conclusion Fellowship, through Agua Madre, through the Walmart and Me Too Fellowship, and Mark S. Allen's directorial debut, Amy's Effort List. She has also shot and co-directed over 16 award-winning music videos with Charlie Young, as well as the short film And Usted También, now on its festival run with screenings at LA Latino International Film Festival, Salute Your Shorts, and Tall Grass Film Festival. Her commercial and branded work includes a short-form food series and Pro Max nominated promos for ABC 10. Her first narrative short as a solo director, A Real Dilemma, is set to hit the festival circuit in the second half of 2026. A three-time Women in Media Altitude Award semifinalist, Emilia is a Cinematography Fellow of the 2023 WIF Artisan and Crew Program and an alum of the ASC Vision Mentorship Program. She has taught and guest lectured at AFI, CSUN, University of New Orleans, USFQ, and UTLA, and has mentored emerging talent through the Youth Cinema Project, Michael's Daughter Foundation, and Sunrise Art Group. Fluent in English, Spanish, and Mandarin, Emilia is also a classically trained cellist, FAA certified drone pilot, co-host of the ICFC podcast, and co-founder of the Ecuadorian Creative Collective. She is committed to telling visually striking stories that center underrepresented voices. So welcome, Emilia. Thank you again for being with us tonight and moderating this conversation. Such an impressive bio. And so I'm happy to introduce Andressa, with also another impressive bio. So Andressa Cordeiro is a member of the Brazilian Society of Cinematographers. Her work in narrative has been screened at major film festivals around the globe, such as Cannes and TIFF, and has been distributed by AMC Plus All Black, Lifetime Stars, and to theaters worldwide. She has shot commercials for major brands such as Nissan, Facebook, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and her work has been praised by Adweek and published by Deadline. Based in LA, she is local to LA and Sao Paulo, Brazil. As a director of photography, Andressa has over 15 years of experience in TV series, feature films, commercials, short movies, and documentaries. She grew up performing classical piano in her hometown. She holds an MFA in cinematography by the American Film Institute. In 2025, she was selected as a Cinematographer Fellow at the competitive Women in Film Fellowship and at the prestigious ASC Vision Mentorship. So without further ado, I let both Andressa and Amelia take it away.
Hi, Andressa. It's lovely to have you here. Very excited and honored to moderate this conversation. To get us started, tell us a little bit about yourself that wasn't included in that very impressive bio and about your journey.
Yeah, I grew up in Brazil, in a town called Curitiba, and I always felt like I always loved movies, always wanted to do it. So when it was time to choose for a college, it was just a coincidence that they had opened a film school in my hometown. So I took it as, a sign and I just did it. And I didn't know how life would look like. I didn't have any plans. I didn't have any representation. Anybody in my family had did this before. So yeah, it's just been like a, trial and error situation ever since. And I moved to LA in 2011 to become a cinematographer. I went back to school. I first went to UCLA Extension, and then after that, I went to American Film Institute. After spending 2 years there, I graduated in 2014, and I have been out and shooting ever since.
What attracted you to being a DP specifically, especially because you just mentioned that you were exploring in your undergrad or you didn't know where to do. What led you to become a cinematographer specifically?
Yeah, so as everybody that goes to film school, specifically in undergrad, you think you're a director. So that happened to me as well. I entered film school thinking that I was going to write and direct movies. And I realized, like, doing it, that I in my life directed one short movie, and I was so much more in immersed in the camera work and the lighting that my actress was there was it was just one character all the time, and she was frustrated with her director for not being present ever to help her out. So that's when I realized, like, oh, I actually want to be part of the department that takes care of the shots and the lighting. Um, so that's how I realized that I wanted to be a cinematographer. It was my very first year in college already. So it was really early, and that was a strike of luck, I'd say, because there's not a lot of people that understand that they want to do a more technical path while in film school. So I got to shoot for a lot of friends while I was going to college. So, uh, yeah, it was a great place to like just experiment it. And yeah, it was a great place to like discover it, experiment, make my mistakes. And that's how I learned that, yeah, I love this and that's what I want to be doing.
And what's your favorite part of being a DP? What drives you in the cinematography world as a DP?
Funny enough, it is the acting. Uh, there is, I think that's something to do with like when I have the camera with me and I'm in close contact with the actors, that's how I kind of can understand them because I'm also a character there. So all the prep work that I do and everything that I try to plan ahead for is specifically to be able to really be looking to the acting when we are working. Not that I'm giving any directions because I'm not a director, but to like to have that second pair of eyes and really be ready technically to be capturing their best moments or when they're giving their best acting. So I'm always in awe with the actors. They do something that I don't think I'll ever be able to do. And when I'm the closest that I think I'll ever be able to get to that is while I'm camera operating specifically. And that's the part that I love the most.
Actually, now that we're on the camera operating question, uh, that is a hot debate amongst DPs, whether to camera operate for your own stuff or to have an operator. And there's, again, varying degrees of response to that. Um, how do you feel like for operating for yourself versus, when you have to work with an operator or when you have multiple cameras and you actually have to have more than one operator?
Yeah. I am more on the team of people who do think that it's best to have your camera operator. Uh, it has to be someone that you trust and that you like the way they approach storytelling as well. But I do believe that when you don't have, because when I'm camera operating, I am looking like at the edges of the frame, and I am like, trying to make the best composition and the best shot, and like nail the movement. If it's handheld, there's the way factoring in. But when I don't have to be there, and I can be like on the monitor, I can factor everything in. And I feel like I can be even more attentive to all of the aspects of the movie and the way that's been made. So when I can, I love having camera operators. Yeah. But that's a rarity because I'm usually like doing, independent feature films and short movies, and that means I'm operating like 90% that I shot, I'm the operator for it.
What kind of stuff do you like to shoot? And what kind of cinematographer are you?
Well, how can I answer that?
We all have our proclivities a little bit. Like we tend towards things.
Oh no, it's fair. Fair. Um, I'd say, and that speaks a lot to why I chose to show Green Days by the River. I do feel like I'm more like a classical cinematographer. I tend to like, slow pace, contemplative ways of shooting it, economic setups, and that's like Green Days by the River 101. We were so economical with the shot list and everything that we shot. And we were trying to like, you know, do long takes, contemplative for people to be immersive in the landscape of Trinidad and the weather and everything. Like they really like feel it. This was meant for the big screen. So, and that's why I chose to show it because I'm not always able to do that. Most of the work that I do, especially when I'm shooting for like studios like AMC or Lifetime, there is a lot of coverage to be done. So there's no way I can go around like just, having the background actors talking and focusing on my main character and then just stalling around him and having all of his reactions and not really close up and show every single person that's talking on the scene. That's not something that I can do. But I could do it in Green Days. So I tend to be in a more like economical, contemplative, kind of classical way of making a movie. Um, so I would say I'm that kind of cinematographer. Is that a kind of cinematographer? Okay, so I think I'm
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Going into that, actually, that is something that jumped out at me when we were watching the clips that you showed, which are absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Um, Talk to us a little bit about designing the visual language for this film and, talking with the director about like I did notice that like how minimal the coverage was, how you were basically saying in one shot that was more dynamic and moving and slowly. Um, Talk to us about that process and developing that with the director.
Yeah, so it's funny how it happened. They were already prepping and going to shoot, and then they lost their DP 3 weeks before the shoot. And
Oh no.
sent like email blasts about who do you have any recommendation? And one of the people that they emailed was Terrence Nance. I had just shot with him a short for Project Involve that's called They Called for the Sun in a very different way. So when he received this email and learned what the project was, they said something about like someone good with natural light and good with working with kids. They charge for the Sun has a 12-year-old girl. Um, so all of these things made him recommend me to the production. And then we started our interview process that until like from the first talk to me jumping on the plane, it was around a week. And then when I arrived there,
Wow.
we had 2 weeks to prep. So I was like, as I was interviewing, I was learning about the project, I was learning about the story. And when I got there, talking to Michael, my director, and understanding how important this story was for everybody, it was very limited time. So I couldn't read the book. So a big part of the prep of this movie was actually me taught because I took advantage of the 99% local crew. We had almost every department. It was like people from Trinidad and Tobago. So a big part of my prep for cinematography was actually talking to them about how they perceive this story and what it meant for them and trying to understand this like collective memory of the story. They did have a script, a locked script by the time I started working on the movie, so that was my guidance. Yeah, but the shot list to your question, there was a few things that we factored in and then decided to go with this very economical approach. Uh, but it was like the days of shoot that we had and the amount of pages we had to cover, but it was also a lot to do with the weather in the Caribbean. So we could never guarantee that whatever we shot in one side that was sunny will be sunny on the reverse if we did the very classical way of like, you know, close-ups and reverse shots. So we decided to actually, we took the script, we broke it down in beats. So each scene we found the beats, like until here is kind of introducing the scene, and here's when he's talking about what he wants to talk about, and this is the response. And like we have like around 2, 3 beats. So we would have around 2, 3 shots for each beat. So we wouldn't have to cut back and forth and deal with the weather change. So we shot pretty much in a more edited way and didn't give the editor a lot of coverage, let's say. I remember Michael telling me around the time when he finished that they used around 90% of what we shot. So it was really, really tight. There was not a lot of things that were left on the editing floor because we sat down before and we were like really breaking down beat by beat and finding the shot that would take care of the beat and the shot that would take care of this beat. So we didn't have to come back and forth and then have like crazy weather changes in the same scene. It's a lot of exterior, you know.
That's really incredible, in terms of efficiency and in terms of the approach to it. But backtracking a little bit, having being a DP that comes in replacing another DP, sometimes when you take on those jobs, there are certain things that are already in place. How did you tackle that, and how did you make it your own when you came into it?
Great question. Uh, in this specific project, the DP was not there yet, and he was not local. So there was not a lot of cinematography prep done. I never really asked how much of the prep he was involved in. When I got in, they had like 90% of their locations locked already. The cast was confirmed already. So I my job was to go to the locations. Every day we were going to a lot of locations. I was sun tracking everything. I had to prioritize. I couldn't just do everything. So my priority was scheduling. I was in each location tracking the sun and then understanding what scenes we were shooting there and trying to understand the blocking. So I could ask like this scene we need it to be in the morning because the sun will be coming from here and I know the blocking is going to be here and the camera is going to be here. I did maps for everything. Uh, and it was the scheduling. So we could like use natural light as much as possible, especially because Michael also told me Ethan Hughes is, and I think it's so cool. He was like, this movie is my love letter to Trinidad. And he wanted the light of the country to show in the picture. So I didn't want to like go against that. And a lot of my prep was to find the natural light, the best light of every place, so we could go along with it and build on that instead of like be fighting anything about that. So yeah, that was pretty much the big part of the prep. A lot of sleepless night in these 2 weeks on doing all the maps, and we went to each location again after seeing it in the first time with a few stand-ins. There were like amazing people from the production, and we just photo storyboarded like 90% of the scenes that we had to shoot. So I really knew where the camera would be and when how to tackle and when was the best light, and ask that for the not always possible. Sorry, not always possible, but that was what we were aiming for.
Again, going back a little bit, what attracted you to this story itself? Why, what about the script? I mean, you said you hadn't read the book, but it obviously means a lot to Trinidad and to the director. What attracted you to it?
Um, there were two big things. This was 2016. I had left AFI at 2014, and I was like fired up to shoot a feature. So I was like, I'm gonna get shoot this feature one way or another. So chances are that I would have said yes, just because it was a feature. But when I read the script, it and they explain me like this is a story that means a lot to, youth, and this is what we read in school. I thought of myself when I watched City of God for the first time and what that meant to me at the time. And I was like, this makes so much sense. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do, camera work is completely different, but the story speaks so much. You see yourself in the big screen, and you see a story that you hear from people around you, like you see that in the movie, like that's making a movie. And I was like, yeah, I would love to work on something like that that would sparkle that, identity in other people. So yeah, after that, I was like 100% sold. When I read the story and I understood what that meant, I was like, it couldn't be a better story for me to shoot.
That's amazing. Um, Talking about this having to make all these decisions around the weather and the sun, um, in terms of, yeah, day exteriors, like the sun can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And so scheduling really is very, very key. But with that comes the tools you're using to control everything else that you can. So can you talk a little bit about the camera lenses, the camera and lenses you chose, and what equipment you had access to and choose to incorporate into your package, and how that played into what you were doing?
Yeah, I have to start giving a big shout out to Mike Carter from Panavision, that he was so supportive when he heard about this. And I, of course, tried to get equipment from them. And I was like, they're going to say no, because you're going to have to like ship everything to the Caribbean and back. But they said yes. So I got a huge amount of support in the camera specifically, which is another chapter on how to like move so much equipment from one country to another. But the production took care of all of that. And we got the Alexa Classic because this is 2016, so the Mini didn't exist yet. But we wouldn't get that because we had a very tight budget anyways. And we were shooting on the super speeds and some ultra speeds. And that was first because I love the look, and second because for the night interiors, it's it's a period piece. They didn't have electricity in the 50s where the movie happens. So everything had to be candle based. And there was one specifically 50 millimeter ultra speed lens that was a T1. It will open up to a 1. So I knew that whenever I was shooting night, that was my night interior. That was my, or exterior for that matter, but we barely had those because we didn't have the way of lighting that. So yeah, whenever I had nights, I would be shooting with the 50 millimeter T1. And what I did is something that I started doing on the Charge for the Sun, because the Charge for the Sun is a short story about the sunlight and the lack of sunlight. So I was shooting interiors that was supposed to be no light scenes. The light wasn't coming from anywhere. So that's a big challenge. And I was looking to Panic Room and Road to Perdition, the scene when he's locked in the trunk of the car. Like, where is the light coming from? From nowhere. So for the Charge on the Sun, they charge for the Sun and for Green Days by the River night interiors. I at the time took like Kino flows out of their case and just taped like Kino flow tubes onto the ceiling. put a diffusion on it and skirt it around to control the direction and go to the walls, and then build like a base layer of light that will expose just, the low level blacks of my image. So you will be able to kind of see in the dark. So it was like a no direction, soft light coming from everywhere. Um, and then for the charge for the sun, that was pretty much it for the no light scenes. So it was like really much controlling the exposure and the sensor and understanding how to, navigate that. But for green days, I had the fast lens. And I did that bedding of like no light that it would just bump up a little bit of my blacks. And then the actors got to play with the candles. And that was something specifically that we were preparing during prep, that I was talking to the production designers, like, I need all sorts of candles, shapes, sizes to be around everywhere. Like if he's writing on the table, yes, he'll have his lamp, but like there's another one next to his father, there's another one next to this corner that's dark. So we will have like this way of lighting, and it worked well, especially because he moves with them. So how do you do that if it's not actually coming from the candle, that the person is moving the big source of light that is lighting them? So the fast lens was very important for us to have. The Panavision support was so important for us to have. And then yeah, building this little bedding of no light and then having the lights from the candle, that did the trick for us.
Since you had such a, truncated prep, because you said you between the interview and like flying over there, you had like a week and then 2 weeks of actual prep on the island. Can you talk about actually the technical prep? Did you camera test? Did you, and to what extent? What did you have time to do? And like, I mean, you talked a little bit about what you already brought into it, but what were you able to do specifically for this project that informed or changed the way you approached it?
Yes, for camera tests, always, always, I need them. So yes, there was a day that, I mean, we got the camera like a few days before the shoot because we had to. I mean, if anything went wrong, like, so you need to get that. And with that, we went to one of the QCs that we had, and it was also a wardrobe test and a makeup test. And I got to shoot every single character in one of their wardrobes in different, lens sizes. It was outside only. I could not do it for a night interior, for example, but it was so informative, and it also like helped. There is something to do with like starting to build a relationship with the people that you're going to be working with, that I feel like it actually starts more in the camera tests. Not the director, of course, because you're working with this person for the whole prep, but the people that are going to be right in front of your lenses and like giving their all. And now they're like, you're starting to build that connection, you build that trust. And a lot of that comes from the camera test because it's a more relaxed environment than the actual shoot. They don't have any lines to say, no marks to hit, no dates to be made. So in that more relaxed environment, you kind of start to like build this trust, this exchange, and I think it's so necessary. It makes a difference for everybody.
In that sense, like, uh, tell us about the challenges of shooting in a foreign country. Have you been to Trinidad before? If you hadn't, what are the challenges of landing, having to, get to know the lay of the land, get to know a crew you don't know, and how you process those challenges?
I have never been to Trinidad and I had never been to the Caribbean. So I was like surprised when I understood that, this is gonna be my first feature. It's gonna be in the Caribbean. I was so feeling so lucky, because it is a place that whatever you put your camera, it's so beautiful. It's like your job is pretty much done when you're shooting in the Caribbean. So I'm like, wow, this is gonna be amazing. Um, yeah, it was, I mean, I didn't know any single person from the production. It was not a director that I've worked with before that, I'm jumping into this. So I was like extremely nervous the whole time. Um, yeah, I mean, Michael is such a sweetheart, and it was also his first feature. So we were kind of like brother and sister taking this and like making this, and I'm very lucky to have had him as my director for my first feature. But um, it was unknown territory the whole time. It was like that. And yeah, I just feel like I got lucky. I lucked out. It was, an amazing team, an amazing story, an amazing place. And yes, technical challenges and weather challenges and having to meet your days, but you know, it was a team that was so passionate about this story, and that makes the movie, that makes why you're there.
Um, can you talk about something that when you look back at the experience, that you felt challenged by, but that now looking, or like something maybe that you look back on and you say like, I would have done that differently, or a lesson you've learned, and how that has informed things that you've done since.
Uh, it's funny because at the same time that I'm like thinking that there was no way around that we shot economically and all of that, after that I've done so many things that are so different from that when I'm watching it, I'm having to like rationally go back like, no, that was the language of the movie, but I crave for those close-ups now. So I know they were not possible that way and the way that things that happened, and that's the language of a movie. And especially at the time when we were shooting a feature, you were shooting for the big screen. It's different now. You know that it's possible that people are just going to see it in a small screen these days, so you really need those close-ups. But yeah, so those, like, if I would be shooting today knowing that, I would have, found a way to put those coverage in.
And now going in a little bit into the post, or maybe a little bit in the pre too. You have such distinctive look for this. Yes, it is pointing the camera at it, but color plays a very pivotal role into everything we do. Did you go into it with a look in mind? And did you develop a LUT? Did you have a colorist on board at the beginning, or did the colorist come after the fact, and did you develop the look after the fact?
We it's so funny. It's such a luxury to have a colorist before. I don't know what to say. It is the right way, but this movie, they had fundraised, they were green lit, and in the end it took more money. So at some point we didn't even know if the movie would be done, because in the middle of those 6 weeks that we were shooting, they went back to fundraise to finish the shooting. So no, they were not thinking about post at the time, because yeah, they were thinking about finishing the movie. And we, for the colorist, we got very lucky again, and it was done by Technicolor here in LA. And it was 1 week, so it was a good time for a feature. I was present, Michael was present as well for all the days. And it was pretty much like we will go there in the morning, we would watch the whole pass, we would make notes. Michael had a lot of input in the coloring process as well. I had sent the colorist all the references that I had gathered until then that we used for the shoot as well, and then we went from there. But I try not to be too controlling and try to, like, let him do his thing. And that's how we approached post. But the colorist only, oh, for LUTs, I no, I didn't have any special. These days I do have a lot that I use every time that I'm shooting the Ari, the Alexa, but at the time I was only using the RE709.
Can you talk a little bit about your visual references that inform this look? What were you guys referencing in pre? Did that change when you finished the movie and you were going into color? Because sometimes I know that when you go into it without a colorist or without that, and you have to, like, to your point, deal with color after the fact, which is very to your point, normal in indie or low budget filmmaking. And sometimes that changes, the minute you're like, oh, maybe we tweak it this or that, and your references change. Yeah, talk about your visual artists, basically.
Yeah, we at the time we were mesmerized by the work of Bradford Young, anything Bradford Young, and specifically Mother of George. We love the way he treated the camera in a very economic way as well, and like use the blocking to, make it feel more dynamic. So that was a big reference, almost like a blueprint, I'd say. We would reference anything that was known to be shot in natural light, so First Days of Heaven. And with that, I understood that I would try to be interior in the middle of the day and then exteriors to, go early in the morning or later on the day. We referenced Tree of Life as well. In the Mood for Love, we love the slow dollies. All the slow dollies came from In the Mood of Love. And surprisingly, there was Spirited Away was a reference because there's a scene that they're walking in the fields. You see some of them here when Shell is walking around. So that came from this like very lushy green and almost animated skies from Spirited Away or any Ghibli movie for that matter.
Looking back at this film and looking back at your work, especially since it's been 10 years since you shot it, um, what are your thoughts on it, and what are your thoughts on your growth since then as a DP?
Yeah, I feel like I'm yeah, definitely grew a lot. I would do a lot of things differently. I feel like every movie of mine, every project of mine that I watch, I'm like, oh, I would have done this differently. And of course, because I already shot it, so I have all the answers now. But yeah, there are things that I've done that I'm proud of, and there are things that I've done that I was like I was, kind of making these decisions in the dark sometimes. So more clarity. The only thing that I would actually have done differently was it has more to do with the prep to get more. And I know it's crazy because I sent you all the files and it's like a lot of prep. But I would have, yeah, and I in the whole prep, I would have approached it less like bureaucratically with maps and camera placements and shots and all, and I will make it more about people. And that's what I try to do today. Like, what is the story for you? And hear it more about what they're thinking, instead of trying to control it more. Because I was, yeah, at the time, first feature, I put everything there and it was like everything on the line. And I was just trying to control everything. I think that's what I was trying to do with that amount of prep. So today, I think I will be more open to the world that was telling me things. Um, and yeah, less controlling, I'd say.
Um, l- Again, looking back, when you think about this experience, what is a like a beautiful, a core memory about it that comes to mind, either a favorite scene or a moment you were at production that just like really made you feel alive, so to speak?
Uh, I mean, every day was it was like every day that we will finish and actually make our days, we would feel like warriors coming from war because we had everything against us. The weather was crazy. Sometimes we just had to shut down and wait for the storm to pass. Um, I think it comes down to the people that I met and being there at the time. Oh, there is a moment though. I just remembered. So it was my day off actually, and it was the Olympics at the time, and the Olympics were in Brazil right when I was shooting in Trinidad, and they had won the biggest run. I don't remember now, but they were all like partying like crazy because they had won gold in the Olympics that year. And it sparkled a memory of me of the World Cup in '94 when Brazil won like last minute of the game and everybody was insane and crazy and crying and screaming on the streets. And that was, I never felt that. I mean, I was only 9 years old and I was like so surprised with how much that meant to people. And I never felt that way of like just a complete joy in the whole country again when I was there and they were like cheering and like so proud to be Caribbean at the time. And yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I felt like I was in the right place in the right time. It was amazing.
Yeah, I love those moments. There's always a moment like that in a
Yeah.
film, whether it's on your day off or on the shoot itself. Um, and in that sense, I have two more questions. One of this is a
Mhm.
hard three-parter, but we'll start with the
Oh
easier
my
one.
God.
No, 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 no worries. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Uh, what's next for you, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, that's the hardest question because you can never really say it because you never really know it. So what's next? I ask myself. Um, no, really, I'm trying to get more into documentaries because I feel that I focus so much in narrative that I kind of missed out a little bit on that. And lately, I've been like kind of in love with documentaries and watching them more. Um, that if I hope that that's what's next for me, like something more in that realm.
Very cool. Very cool. This is the actual hard question, and I know because like
Okay, right.
we ask it in the podcast all the time, but it is a fan favorite. It stumbles a bunch of the DPs though. So it's a three-pronger, okay? So, what's your favorite movie?
Okay, yeah.
What's your chicken soup movie? And the chicken soup movie is like what I call like the movie you put on that just like when you're feeling super sick or like just need a like super sad or just need a pick me up that just makes you feel really good. And the movie that has influenced your cinematography the most, or has influenced you as a cinematographer the most. So three movies, because I know there's never one. So yeah,
No.
yeah, I told you it was harder.
Mm. Um, wow, my favorite movie. I'm gonna start with my chicken soup because that's what I put on the screen every time that I'm, yeah, needed lift. Anything Ghibli, Spirited Away, Totoro. Yeah, that's what it's like. When I was a kid and you were sick, you stay home and watch cartoons. That's, if I'm down and I need to watch cartoons, and that's definitely what I'm watching. Um, my favorite movie. I'm afraid to say it's an animation because I'm a cinematographer.
That's
But
all good.
I think Persepolis is an awesome movie, and
Yeah.
I identify with her in so many ways after living 15 years abroad without my family. And yeah, um, I know it's like a complete different background, but there's so many things that she says that really hits home that I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And what was the last movie?
So either the movie that has
Animation.
influenced your cinematography the most, or has influenced you as a cinematographer the most.
Yeah,
Like,
the
like the one that keeps up showing on every single lookbook you prep. We all have one of those.
yeah. I'm gonna have to say Atonement because it does show on my prep a lot, and I referenced it twice now. The shot that she's in the library and she's like, accusing someone else of rape without completely knowing it, but being so sure and, destroying somebody else's life. They do a slow push-in dolly and a lighting trick that they are closing down the iris while lifting her key light. So she gets to be in exposure the whole time, but the whole background drops. So there's no more light behind her. She's just in the spotlight and she's like, no, I am sure it was him. It's so powerful to me the way it was shot. So I did it on my thesis and I did it again on another project with Carla Dowden. And yeah, it keeps showing up. I keep finding places to like do this lighting trick. And I mean the cinematography in that movie, I'm not even talking about the Warner, and the Warner is impressive, but everything in that, every single shot, every single camera choice for placement and for movement is just, yeah, it influenced me a lot.
And I lied. I have one more question. Um, if I just came down with a magic wand and gave you like you could shoot anything, anything in the world, what would it be and why?
Ooh, I would do something with a lot of visual effects. Not necessarily like, oh, I did this movie or did that movie, but I feel like because I do like, independent films and narratives, we never get to do so much about post and like expand the world. And I would love to do that. Virtual production or a lot of like visual effects. I love to do that. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a sci-fi girly myself, so
Nice.
yeah. Is there anything that you want to mention or talk about that I didn't ask about, or you want to expand on anything that I didn't ask on?
No, no.
Cool. Well, I think we could open it up to the audience.
Yes, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand on there's like a Zoom React button, or you could also put it on the chat.
Nobody? Really? Andressa is such an interesting person. Ask her questions. She did an amazing job. I guess not. Oh, yes, we have
I have a
Molly.
question. Hi, my name is Maureen.
Oh, go for it.
Did you watch the Oscars and what was your reaction to the first woman who won the DP, like best cinematography? Did you
Yeah.
watch the movie?
Yeah, it was a milestone for all of us, I feel like. Yeah, she has been consistently delivering amazingly shot movies that I don't think that anybody that actually knew her body of work was really surprised that she was the first female cinematographer to get an Oscar because she's amazing. Yeah, she's a big inspiration for all of us.
I didn't realize she would be the first woman. I mean, the Academy should do better.
Yeah. She's
That
the
would have been more.
she's the fourth she was the fourth nominated woman, I believe.
Okay. First winner, I guess.
First one. We have good.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to jump in and say thank you, Andressa, for sharing all that. It was so nice to get to know you from that perspective a bit more. And I'm wondering, I thought it was really brave for you to the first feature jump in and do that film and go to Trinidad and Tobago. I think it's so brave. How did you figure like out the logistics of that for being the first feature film? It's kind of crazy.
I felt like they were giving me a gift the whole time, honestly. So I didn't feel like I was being brave or anything like that. I was just like, I hope these people don't ask me out anytime soon because I'm loving it. And yeah, It's such an experience. I stayed in Trinidad for 2 months. I made real good friends. I learned so much, and I got to shoot an amazing story as my first feature. So I was like, all the time, I was just like, no, I was going to sleep. Like, I hope they don't fire me tomorrow for any reason because I want to stay.
Hi, can I ask you something? Hi, I'm Thais. I'm from Brazil as well. Yeah, bye, Mario. So I'm new here in LA. So I'm basically moving,
Yeah.
working for so long time ago. I worked in Brazil producing, but like set designs and working with producing. And now I'm here, and I was like curious about like I see someone ask as well, like it's easier how to adapt to here, like it's easier to find jobs here, and tell more about how is the process like when you get the script. Do you have like some paths, okay, or no, you just read and go to see another movie, go to see another things, like how you get inspirations for moving your path, like.
Yeah. So for uh for inspiration, it really like it's a project basis situation. So I try first to hear from the director what they're thinking. I have this theory that every director, especially if they're writer, they are already seeing the movie in their heads. So my first conversations are always like trying to extract that movie from them and trying to understand what they're seeing before I come in with my atonement reference that's probably going to show up and tell them like, oh, this is great. So and then I try to hear like what are they referencing first. And this is the time that I feel the most successful in my life is when I get to sit down on my couch and put in a movie and say, I'm working. That's when I'm like, I made it in life because I'm working and I'm doing the thing that I love the most and I am working. So I watch all the references that they're sending it to me. And then we start the conversation from there. Like, then I start to give them, like, oh, since you told me that this scene is about this, there's also this movie. So, a lot of things that I've seen before, and that kind of goes along what they told me. I'm going to start adding up to that. So that's around how the process goes.
We had Molly had a question, had her hand raised.
I think we had one in the chat.
Yeah,
we
I
have
think
two.
yeah, Molly's was like right. I think it kept going up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Molly.
Thank you so much for your time. I absolutely loved hearing your story and your accomplishments. I'm just curious, just like human to human, what do you think helps you just continue being you, putting yourself out there, especially to continue to get the opportunities that you have? How do you, yeah, just kind of be who you are and continue to be this awesome every day, or what helps you on the hard days?
That's
Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you. It's friends. Yeah, friends that I made in the industry, friends that are in my community here in LA. Sometimes it does get a little hard, a little lonely. Sometimes you're just sick and you just want your mom's lap to lay on and you don't have it. So friends, really. And it's funny because I was such in this shark mentality coming from AFI that I just wanted to make it as a cinematographer and whatever. I didn't care, just work, work, work. And then the pandemic came, and then I was like, okay, there's something else about this. So these days, I'm more inclined to like go to sets that I have people there that I know and that I know I'm gonna have a good time. Directors that I know that are gonna be friends and collaborative and outside that as well. I think it's so important to keep your community close. Um, yeah, because that really helps you go through the hard days as well. Big time. So friends that saves. It keeps me grounded. Jennifer is trying to raise her hand. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. I have a question. So I see you have some shorts, you have some features. I wanted to know how do you make them both like different, like shorts and between like features? So whether that they're the same procedure or you make this pre-productions a little different. So I just wanted to know your sequence.
Yeah. No, they're so different to shoot. The biggest lesson that I learned after shooting Green Days, that was my longest form project at the time, was how much I could breathe. Sometimes I had one scene that I couldn't fit today, but we were coming back to this location tomorrow and could try to fit it. It's so like I could breathe more. When I'm shooting shorts, and I've done countless and I'm gonna keep doing them, I think forever, uh, it's more fast paced. And commercials then is like crazy, 2 times speed, 5 times speed. I don't even know. Um, so the shorter you have, the more you have to be like precise on your decisions and just like get everything that you can in longer forms. And I love that about them, is there's more like wiggle room to make mistakes and like to experiment a little bit. You have time to like understand the movie a little bit, so you like first second days you kind of like settling in and understanding your crew and understanding how this movie is going to really look like, and you have other few weeks to go. In shorts, like by the time you feel that way, it's over. So yeah, that's the biggest difference.
I know you both are cinematographer, so maybe this question is not just, for you both, maybe. Um, so when it comes to like like shots, do you actually follow like a director's, the point of view, or do you actually make kind of sequence like your own thoughts? So what is, or maybe like between different directors who have some directors may just don't have any viewpoints, and you just provided the whole viewpoints for them, or some they have really have specific ideas how they want the shots to look like. So how did you balance those? How did you communicate with the director?
Do you want to go, Amy? Because the question is
Sure.
Go ahead.
I I I like to say that I work with whatever the director's comfortable with. The things I'll offer a director is like, or I'll ask them is, how do you like to shot list? Do you like to shot list by yourself, and then I'll shot list by myself, and then we get together and see what we're doing together? Do you want to sit and shot list everything together? Do you want me to shot list everything? So it really depends on the director and how they want to work. I personally like directors who have a strong point of view, but that will let me in on the collaboration, because I think with the power of two combined, better things come out, I think. But also understanding where the director's coming from in terms of how they've envisioned their film really helps me plan the visual language, not only for the shot list, because sometimes you're on set and you have a shot list, but it just goes out the window. But you have a good understanding of what they want and how they want to shoot it and how they want to tell the story. You can still adapt at that moment. So that's my take on it.
Maybe that's my last question. So how much percentage of the improvising shots on set in your like a filming, career? You both. I mean, I know there are a lot of like movies wanted to stick on the list, but there's a lot of things happening, like especially for indie and the location and everything. So I know that you need a lot of improvised thoughts to work with. So I mean, just like how many percentage of the improvising shots you guys created on set in general? I'm talking about in general.
You want to answer, Andressa? Or should I?
Who come first?
I mean, like Emi said, every director is its own process. So a lot of the time you're just like understanding how you can be the best cinematographer for this specific director. There are cases that the directors are very specific with the shot list, And to your previous question, like if even if they come with their shot list, I try to have at least one meeting where we sit down and we like align because I need that to like see the movie the way they're seeing it. So I can just read it and understand, like we have to discuss it at least once for me to be able to deliver that shot list that they gave me. But yeah, it was never my experience that a director didn't quite shot list. Even if they don't do it in the like standard process of putting it down, they kind of do have a list in their mind of shots that they want for each scene. So it's just part of the process to like get that from them. Even if it's just a conversation and I go like taking notes and then I come up with it and we talk. Yeah, sometimes they come to me and they're like, I'm not experienced. I don't know anything about lenses, for example. And then I think I'm gonna be embarrassed. It's like, you don't have to. That's my job. You are responsible for the actors, because that's one thing that I can't do. So everything else is on me. So it really is a director by director experience, and a project by project experience as well.
Yeah, I like to call myself a director translator sometimes. Um, Sometimes when they haven't shot list or can't, or they're doing more improvisational things, um, what I like to do is I like to understand dynamics, how they're seeing the dynamics of a scene, because that tells me how they want to shoot it eventually, as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have 2 questions in the chat for you.
What are the questions?
The first one is from Katie S. Would you ever go back to Brazil to be a DP, or is it easier to find work in LA?
I would, and I did. In 2023, I was there, and I got to shoot for Henrique Faria in my hometown. It was like a kind of like a commercial for the local DMV. So we had like period cars driving by everywhere in the city, and we could, just do what we wanted. Not really, but we got a lot of liberty. And it was so funny because it's so different from LA. Shooting outside of LA is so different from LA because LA is a bubble. So yeah, people were not, expecting it, and they're not patient about it, and they're not prepared for it. So you're really like, getting into people's commute back home after a hard day of work, and they are not happy about it. So things like that was like kind of interesting for me to see. But before I actually moved to LA, I was actually a Foley editor. I worked in post-production for 2 years in my hometown. And I did movies as a Foley editor and as a little bit of sound effects designer as well. I did movies like Elite Squad 2, HBO shows like Sons of Carnival. It was like the biggest box offices in Brazil was coming to the studio that I was working. So when I came here and became a cinematographer, I uh, didn't have any set experience in Brazil. So for the longest time, I would just like, because I went to film school in Brazil and my friends did. So I would just hear from them what it's like to shoot in Brazil. And I wouldn't have that experience really because I was in post-production right before I came here.
Okay, hold up. I have a question before we go into the second question.
Yeah.
Following up on that, very cool that you were a Foley artist.
No, wait.
A Foley.
Never a Foley artist. I have to say that I was a Foley editor. So there was a
Sorry.
Foley artist recording. I would get the files and I was editing it, like syncing it and all of that. So
Apologies.
I'm not as
Yes.
cool as you think I am.
No, still cool. I've done sound work. It's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Is there anything from your experience as working as a Foley editor or in post sound or in post production in general that you brought into your cinematography or the way you approach your cinematography?
I mean, it's in a way it is because listen, we were working on the biggest of box offices in Brazil, right? But it's still post, so it's not, it should have, but it's not picture lock. So we were watching cuts that they would change, and then we would see kind of that little process of like what's behind the thought of choosing one thing instead of the other. So that gave me a nice perspective of storytelling and why you would choose one way or another, you know. And like 90% of the times I would like, I didn't see it, but now that you've changed it, I agree with you. It is better. And that I was so young. I was like 23, 24 at the time. And it was like a big film school for me to see that whole process. So yeah, it is that whole chapter, it's a big formation in storytelling for me. So I think I carry it in everything that I do if it's film related.
I
That's
have a
awesome.
question, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Andressa. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the knowledge and everything. This is so much fun. I have a question. Do you think that it's possible for women that are currently pursuing cinematography, but they don't have like the normal studies of that to do it like with the resource that we have, learning? What do you think about that?
I think it's possible for anybody. I think it's open and I hope it's open, but I think everybody can do it. As I was telling everybody, I come from a town, it's not the biggest town in Brazil. It doesn't have a movie industry. And it was only the day that I watched City of God that I understood that as a Brazilian I could make movies. Uh, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have anybody to like tell me what will life look like or what are the steps that I should take. I was just, doing it as I went and like a lot of trial and error. Um, but yeah, I think if it's possible for me, I like to think it's possible for everybody.
And what do you think that will be like? It will be less just try to go and shoot with friends, just experiment, practice, find your way.
I think that's such an important question. We usually say there are like two ways of approaching it. You can do that route with shooting with friends and just already being the DP of the projects of like, lower budget projects that you are getting to hone your craft there. Or you can do the other way that is like coming up in the camera department or the lighting department in other people's movies as DPs, and then working your way up there. So or you can do both. You can be, DIT and then second EC and first EC for other DPs, and then in your time off, because it's freelance work, you can be shooting with your friends. So there's not really like a specific path that you can do, but yeah, I try to like get skills to be able to help other people, and then trying to get into sets as much as I can and just like be a fly on the wall and seeing like why they're doing the things that they're doing, which I think is what I was doing, that coming back to the Foley editing process, like that was my fly on the wall opportunity, because I was just like there and I was watching this like amazing people building stories, and I got to see their thought process. So anything that can put you in the room to do that, if you're starting, I think it's gonna do amazing things for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that's really, really solid, amazing advice. And then to our last question in the chat from Leah Abati. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. How do you keep up with the technical advancements in cinematography, and how do you renew your visual library and keep inspired?
I am one of those people that believe in the saying that if you need a new idea, you should open an old book. And in that case, an old movie. Um, It's funny because right before this, I was watching Drunken Master. When is that from? The
I don't, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was in awe of, how they did so much with so little. Like they didn't have any cranes. They didn't. And then after that, another Netflix came up, like a huge visual effects release Theron in the mountains. I don't even know the name. And I was like, wow, look at like how they did so much. All the fighting scenes, everything was like so, the camera placement was right for every beat of the story in the fights. Still telling the story while they were fighting and choreographing all of that. So I think I take it from everywhere when I see that, there is something to learn here that I can use in my projects because the Charlize Theron Netflix mountain visual effects movie, it's very nice and entertaining, but that's not my world, that's not my reality. So if I watch something that was like more simple and that people were doing a lot with like one dolly and handheld or zooms and focus, like wrecking focus, I think that's so powerful for storytelling. Just like, yeah, anything that I can see that can give me those answers, that's what I keep looking at to stay inspired and then maybe apply that for my projects.
Beautiful.
Thank you again for everyone for coming, and thank you for Andressa and Emilia for this conversation.
Thank you guys. It was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, have a good night, everyone.